So welcome everybody. I am Jon Stewart, Head of Customer Success and Analytics here at Upwave. And I'm here along with my colleague, Jeremy O'Brien, VP of Product. And we are super excited today to bring you the next expert update from Upwave. Today, we're going to talk about surfacing critical tasks with Upwave's campaign launch checklists. Remember, there is a live Q&A at the end. So what you can do is use the Q&A button in the Zoom if you've got any questions, and we'll get to them at the end if there's time. So in the meantime, what do we mean when we say surfacing critical tasks? Well, the context for all of this kind of goes back to Upwave's underlying philosophy and hopefully why you already love the Upwave platform and the UX. So what we mean by that is we know many of you use or have used research in the past to help understand your brand's consumers. You want to answer the important why questions. You want to storytell. And the invention of ad servers created a tag it and survey approach. And over time, brands have tried applying successful market research techniques for planning to media questions, leading them to incessantly cut data searching for good news. Brand analytics and the Upwave platform answers media questions and not research questions, because in our world, there is one simple goal: maximize your brand objective. Cutting more data to answer the why questions just doesn't tell you what you can change about your media to help improve the outcomes of your campaign. So with our different approach to answer these media questions, we use causal analysis and tools of comparison, for example, brand optimization. We tell you the ability to reach, to understand reach against your target. And we provide actionable recommendations to make changes to your media that is appropriate with your risk tolerance, right? So it could be a low risk action like setting frequency caps, or a high risk action like shifting dollars from a media partner or a channel that might be dragging your lift down. Upwave is the only platform that has purpose-built algorithms diagnosing when and how to reallocate these budgets. So all you need to do is bring your brand, know or let us help you define your brand objectives, and have the expectation that your brand measurement can go to work for your media, and Upwave will help you get there. So what does that mean? How does that relate to checklists? Well, first of all, you asked for it. So in our Q1 customer satisfaction survey, we saw a lot of demand for tools that could help you understand what to do next. What are the prescriptive steps? What else is needed? Or said in plainer language, you start measurement with Upwave, you get everything set up, and you just in the back of your mind are waiting for this other shoe to drop. Like there's something that's going to get called out at some point that hasn't been done, or then it's just way too late and the measurement's compromised. So next slide. So our challenge was to build a solution that's going to help answer the following questions, right? The where, what, and when of what's needed to be done. So imagine this: you launch a campaign, you've got a dozen tasks that you need to make the Upwave measurement successful. This could span setup, launch, live period, the closing of the campaigns, and can be distinct between tagged media activity and linear or addressable TV. So these tasks could be setting up ad server reports to enable discrepancy checking, verifying the survey questions, or mapping placements to enable tactic cuts. And you might even get some alerts from Upwave support, but you're not sure of the context. You're maybe not sure what has to be done, when. And what you don't want is to learn back to that unfortunate moment that you forgot something. So some of you have enough Upwave repetitions under your belt and you know what to do, but what about when it can be done? And by when must it be done? Nobody has time for all this to keep track. especially when it involves cross-functional coordination across your organization? Well, an automated system doesn't get distracted from or forget about where things stand. And it doesn't have things to do that are more important than reminding your team. So going back to Upwave's philosophy, this would not be a system where it's a goldfish encountering this as a new project with new tasks each time, but it is one where the steps are repeatable and would be able to show you where you stand. So with that, I'll turn it over to Jeremy to talk through some of the details of how checklists work and how to use them to your advantage. Jeremy.
Thanks so much, John. Yeah, we're very excited to introduce campaign checklists. As John said, it's a #1 requested feature, and we love when we can build features that people want. So without further ado, happy to introduce campaign checklists, which surface critical tasks right in the UI. So your team can stay on top of what you need to do to keep campaign measurement moving. How do checklists help you though? Well, say you've just created a campaign. A checklist reminds your team of what to do next. As John mentioned, implementing tags in your ad server, ensuring they're working correctly, recording objectives and target audiences so a questionnaire can be created, and really importantly, making sure that the right people are in the loop and receiving notifications about how the campaign is doing. But it's not just about launching a campaign. Say your campaign has gone live. Well, there the checklist can remind your team, if they haven't already, to set up ad server reporting so that you can identify discrepancies, to help you remind you to map tactics that you'd like to see cuts and breakouts for and optimize against, and to fix those discrepancies to ensure that you're accurately measuring a campaign. So checklist lives across the entire life cycle of your campaign, and it puts all these to-dos right at your team's fingertips. Sorry about that. Additionally, on the preceding slide, we saw checklist in the context of an individual campaign, but it also offers you a at-a-glance view of what your team needs to do across all your campaigns. Critical tasks are surfaced on every campaign card or tile, in addition to within the dashboard tab of a campaign, whether those campaigns are yet to launch or coming to a close. Tasks are dynamically generated for individual campaigns. This isn't just a general purpose guide that suggests things you should do based on the dates alone of your campaign. It's aware of the context, overall context of your campaign. What things have been done, what things haven't been done. Of course, when your campaign launches and ends, but also what stage it's in and where you are with respect to tasks, what's coming next, and what you've already accomplished. Additionally, checklist doesn't just surface requirements, the things you must do in order to progress your campaign measurement. It also incorporates recommendations on best practices so that you can get the most out of the measurement you're doing with Upwave, encouraging you to do things like keep your tactics up to date, especially when you push new media activity on a campaign, or make sure that the end dates are still up to date so that the overall logic of the checklist continues to be consistent with your expectation of when a campaign is coming to an end. Sorry about that, everyone. So our thinking in developing the checklist is to make it as easy as possible to use. First and foremost, to generate these tasks automatically, surfacing just what your team needs to know so they can focus on that. So a task appears when attention is needed, and it disappears when that task is resolved. Additionally, we've worked to build in guidance and instructions on how to execute, the tasks that are surfaced by checklist. You can hover over a task, just like we see here on screen, for an explainer on what that task is. In this example, we've got a task to fix discrepancies, and the explainer tells us, use Upwave's discrepancy reports to troubleshoot tag setup in your ad servers. Additionally, there's a link here, and clicking on that link takes you to an explainer that gives step-by-step instructions in Upwave's knowledge base on just how to address discrepancies. What's more, you can just click on a task to navigate to the place in Upwave's platform where you can complete it. So in this example, clicking on Fix Discrepancies takes us right to the tag management page, where it's clear that there are reports pending which need to be addressed. Sorry, a little navigation trouble here. At its core, the checklist is fully integrated with what you see in the UI and what Upwave's support team is using as a single cohesive source of truth that everyone can rely on. So whether you're looking at the platform, whether you're talking to your CSM, whether you're in communication with the support team, we're all using the same information in order to guide you through to successful measurement. So Jon spoke a little bit earlier about we've heard you loud and clear, and we understand that activating measurement can be confusing, and implementing it can be hard for a team to stay on top of. Now, because Upwave takes a SaaS approach to measurement, our platform is always on. It organizes information in one place that you can get to easily, and it makes that available to anyone on your team who needs it. Consequently, Campaign Checklist put those very software as a service capabilities to work to reduce your project management overhead, to reduce your communications overheads whenever you're activating measurement with Upwave. Campaign checklists help your team to stay on top of measurement, whether that's for one campaign or across a dozen. And with direct in-platform access anytime you need it, measurement is easier, faster, and more reliable for you. And that's why we're so excited to bring campaign checklists to our customers. So that's what we wanted to share today. As Jon said earlier, we're happy to take questions about what checklists can do for you. Jon, have we received any questions that we'd like to start with?
Yeah, so we got a couple in here. I guess the first one is how can I see all the tasks for all my campaigns at once?
That's a great question. Yeah, and that's really intrinsic to the approach we're taking to campaign checklists. So simply put, the campaign overview page is where you can get an overview of all the campaigns you're measuring with Upwave. And so that's the right place to understand how are those campaigns, not only how are those campaigns doing, but what do I need to do, or what does my team need to do in order to help those campaigns continue to progress from a measurement perspective. So by navigating to the campaign's overview page, you'll see that each campaign card, tile, has a set of tasks that are required and a set of tasks that are recommended. And if there are no tasks that need to be completed at a particular moment in time, the checklist communicates that you're good to go. So you can scroll through your campaign's overview, look for tasks that appear on your campaign card. That'll immediately give you an indication of where across all your campaigns there's something that needs attention. That means you don't need to track those steps manually. You can rely on the information that's being provided right there in the platform UI. Great question.
Right. So it's always up to date. Thanks, Jeremy. I think I can take the next one here, which is who can complete campaign checklist tasks. So first of all, it's any member of your team can see and complete the tasks. It's also worth saying at a level up, anybody within a given team can be in the Upwave platform, right? So you as a user can invite people to your team. That would allow them to see all the campaign cards. At that point, they're able to see all of the checklist items that need to be done. So in order to complete the tasks, basically invite somebody to the team if they're not already invited, then click in the task in either the campaign card or the dashboard tab to navigate to that part of the platform where it can be completed. So you just click on there. And if it's unclear how to complete any specific task, you can hover for the task description, and then it gives a link to the detailed instructions. Then when a task is completed, it's no longer going to appear. So like we were just saying, it's always up to date in the campaign checklist.
That's another great question.
Yeah, it looks like we've got one final questions, which is, it's kind of a two-part here. Do tasks have deadlines? And then what if a task just kind of hangs out and remains incomplete?
Yeah, so I can kind of speak to that from the product perspective. And the short answer is required tasks are required in order to progress your measurement. So for instance, tasks that are required for a campaign that has not yet launched must be completed in order to launch that campaign. So setting up your questionnaire, for instance, and completing the objectives and targets form in order to do that. Those are examples of tasks that you need to do in order to set a questionnaire live and launch campaign measurement. If we think about a live campaign, then required tasks there need to be completed to enable both accurate measurement and tactic level view of your campaign. So for instance, mapping your placements and creatives so that we understand what cuts, so that the system, understands what cuts to measure performance for, whether that's lift performance, whether that's reach, or whether that's a view of the world based on the outperformance indicator for optimization purposes. That's needed in order to get the most out of the live phase of your campaign. That helps you to do interim reporting or ongoing monitoring of the campaign, or even better, optimization of the campaign. And tasks that are required for completed campaigns, again, are those that are needed in order to enable you to perform the very tactic level analysis that you have no doubt decided to work with Upwave to be able to do. So in your reporting and automated campaign summaries, to be able to view all the different cuts that you'd like to see, that those tasks need to be completed in order to do that. So there's an inherent logic to the tasks that are required for each stage of a campaign, each status. Recommended tasks are just like it sounds, recommended. So if you want to get the most out of what you're doing, these tasks are reminding you at different points throughout your campaign to keep tabs on things which otherwise might slip your attention. We're all very busy, and measuring campaigns is just part, of course, of what our customers are doing at any given moment in time. So recommended tasks are there to kind of help you. but the required tasks fit directly into the progression of campaigns from pre-launch, live, and to completion. That's a product view of how tasks, of task deadlines, and whether it's okay to leave a task incomplete. We can kind of flip that around too, though, right? Like if you, for instance, say you have a campaign that's pre-launch and you're wondering, like, why is this still pre-launch? Well, the tasks that are reflected on the campaign card, for instance, are an indicator, what's required in order to get that campaign live. So said another way, they help you to understand what you need to do in order to continue to move forward.
Very well said. That is it for our questions, and therefore that's it for our expert update. So thanks, Jeremy. And thank you for everyone who attended. As a reminder, for more information, you can always go to our knowledge base at expert.upwave.com. You can always click the Get Help button within the Upwave platform, or you can reach out to your CSM. So any one of those, we'd love to hear from you as you start to navigate your checklists and want to get help. So thanks, everyone, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks for